Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Vanderslice. I am a life coach at Vanderslice Coaching. Today I'm going to present to you for the Parsippany Library a presentation on my favorite age is now. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment and do a breathing exercise. But take a look at the picture that's in front of you right now. It's an expansive picture, and it allows you to just feel the freedom of the moment. Don't feel confined by anything that's going on right now. Take a moment and breathe. So we're going to do a little breathing exercise before we begin. If you can, put your feet flat on the floor, straighten your spine. And what I want you to do is you're going to breathe through your nose or your mouth. We're going to pull the air all the way down to the stomach, hold it for a moment, and then release the air through the mouth. We're going to do it at 5 counts, okay? We're going to do 3 of these. This is a centering exercise, and it'll allow you to really be present. So let's begin. First, breathe through your nose, and hold, and release. Let's do 2 more. Breathe in. Hold and release. And 1 more. Breathe in and hold and release. The exercise you just did is a technique you can use anytime, anywhere, for when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. You can slow the count down, but remember to breathe out at the same pace that you breathe in. This has many purposes to it, from slowing down your heart rate to keeping you focused in the present, in the now. The word now is the most important word in today's presentation. Are you here? Take a moment. Where's your mind? Where are you thinking? How do you feel? Are you here? Or maybe you're here. This moment is most important because what has brought you here. All the things that have happened in your life up to this point are part of why you are where you are. And they include your upbringing, your education, your experience, relationships, and your environment. They've all been important and instrumental in creating this moment in your life. Good or bad, this is your now. So let's take a few minutes and talk about all the factors that brought you here. When you were born, communication started that day. Many mothers will say that they recognize their baby's cry and what they need. So in the beginning, most babies know how to communicate, even without words. Sure, life is much simpler, but the wheels are in motion. As you grow, you learn to communicate. You learn to communicate through actions, through your voice, through the way you feel. And you receive feedback from the communication that you give. As you grow and learn more, there is a consistency about it. There's a consistency about creating a communication and the response that you're expecting to receive. This is the nurturing and communication that builds habits. We establish many beliefs early in the relationship formed with our parents and our siblings. Look at things from a child's point of view. Now, this is mostly a child who now has verbal communication skills. A child might think, if I open the front door, mommy will be angry. If I don't do my chores, mommy will be sad. If I cry, I'll get a hug. If I laugh, mommy will smile. If I do well, mommy and daddy will be proud of me. Of course, this isn't true for all of us. But you get the idea. If you were to think back now, what do you remember about those times? I learned that if I did something to help my mother, she would appreciate it. That developed into a desire to help others because of the satisfaction I feel from it. Going forward in time, then we went to school and were put in a space with other people with their own beliefs in how to communicate and what response they would expect. And all of a sudden, things are different. We don't get the responses we expected. And this is where we tend to learn judgment and lose our confidence and trust. The system we thought was foolproof when we were at home, it's not. Children can be selfish as they learn to navigate these new relationships, but they also learn language and rules, expanding the world of feedback and creating new habits. So from a student's point of view, this is my desk. The teacher expects me to keep it neat or I won't get a star for the day. If I talk when the teacher is talking, I will be in trouble. An A is a good grade, and it means that I am accepted. A D means that I failed. I still see these last two with my college students, many of whom are more interested in the grade they're going to get than the knowledge they're going to receive. When we are little, learning is fun, for most of us. But when did that change for those of us who believe that learning is about the grade or the task to be completed? Most children flourish in an environment where they understand action and consequence. But others are afraid to fail and really don't equate learning with getting better at something. They only see success and failure, and new habits are born. In fact, most beliefs that stick with us are formed as early as the age of 4 or 5. And most habits and routines form by the age of 9. What have you carried into now from this time? Do those beliefs, habits, and routines still work for you? In other words, do you feel productive and satisfied with your beliefs and habits in place? What thoughts or feelings are attached to your habits and beliefs? If you notice thoughts and feelings that aren't what you would like, what would you like instead? As we grow, we develop more relationships and expand our environment into life beyond home and school. We get a job, take up a hobby, move to a new town, start dating, get married, have a family. When we are young and did something that was approved of, it was rewarded and praised. That likelihood went down entering high school, then college, then entering the workforce, where competition could be strong. Dating, getting married, and having a family carries a belief system generally created by our own upbringing. You want this or that because you had it or you didn't have it. Feedback and communication can be sidelined when you are busy being busy, when you are busy with the life that you're living. Sometimes things get sidelined, like your own feelings, your own thoughts, and your own desires for what you would like the present to be, and even the future. I bring all of this up because most of us had to grow into who we are because of who we were. Now is the present moment. You have a new now every moment. And you bring the past with you through emotions, thoughts, and actions, and of course, memories. Thoughts come into our mind thousands of times a day. Thoughts are most often related to judgment and habits. The judgment and habits come from the past, And then there's always that to-do list. That's your future. If you did a thought download for 1 hour in one day, you might be amazed at all the random thoughts you have. A thought download is where you record every thought you have as you have them. That's why you probably only want to do it for 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, because it does take a little bit of time, but it's really interesting to do it. If you sit down and do this, if you do a thought download, and then you go back and read that list, it might seem like there's an unsupervised toddler running around in your mind. Your list might look like this. I don't want to go to work today. Look at this mess. Where's that bill I needed to pay? I need to find it before I leave. Maybe I can read some emails while I'm eating breakfast. I really need to stop reading emails before work. I don't want to go to work today. Why didn't my husband let me know he needed to leave early? Nobody emptied the dishwasher again. I have to put dish soap on the grocery list. Where are my keys? Why did I come in here? I need to call my mom today. Maybe I have time to call her now. No, I'll be late for work. That might be something like a download for you. Doing a thought download is an interesting exercise to try. If you can't write them down, record them on your phone as you have them. It really gives you a sense of your habits. How many of those thoughts do you speak out loud? What emotions tend to surface with those thoughts? And what do you do? Negative thoughts can be exhausting. Positive thoughts can lift you up. Neutral thoughts are just that. They're just neutral thoughts. They're things that you need to do, something you had to remind yourself about. Doesn't have any positive or negative. So of course you're going to have something in all of those areas. As you download those thoughts, try to make a note of the emotion you feel. Good, bad, neutral. When you come back to it later, look at it again and see if your thought is still lingering. If you have changed your state, which means if you've changed your state of mind, you're feeling better, you're feeling worse, you're tired, whatever it might be, take a look at that list again and see if any of the positive and negatives have changed. That can definitely change your initial feelings to whatever those thoughts were. Remember, those thoughts were only happening in that moment. They may never happen again, or they may happen constantly. This is how you learn what habits are. Do you have a habit of thinking? Many people think the same thoughts over and over and over all day long. But what do they do when they have those thoughts? What happens? Is there an emotion that goes through it? Or is there a feeling of needing to get something done? Is there a tension to it? What is it about that particular thought that you keep having? Why do you keep having it? Sometimes we have thoughts over and over simply because it's a habit of what we've always done. We always think, maybe when we get in the shower, we think of all the things we have to do today. I have to remember to do this, and here's my grocery list, and so forth. But then there's those other thoughts about, what is that person thinking? Why didn't they get here on time? What are they thinking about me? What is it that I'm reading an email? Okay, let's just say you're reading an email. You might read that same email in different states of mind. Sometimes you might interpret it as meaning, well, they're being sarcastic, or it's mean, or it's mean-spirited. But sometimes you'll look at it going, they probably were just having a bad day. Right? So it really depends on your state of mind whenever you're going through your thoughts, whenever you're doing your process of downloads, and of course your thoughts in general. So, did I overwhelm you yet? It's a lot of information to realize that where you are is where you've been. You are a creator. You are created from your past. But this is typical, having all of these thoughts constantly all day long. The problem is that mental chatter that goes on all day, it's considered normal. We all do it. No wonder so many of us are stressed out. It's like living in Grand Central Station. Forget about what's going on in the external world. But remember, you are here because of where you have been. So how do we change? Well, you can't change your history. Every wonderful and irritating thing that happened to you has brought you here. But now, in this moment, you have a choice about what you will nurture and what you will starve. Now, there's this wonderful Cherokee story about two wolves that I'd like to share with you. The story goes this way. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside of me," he said to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is angry, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego." He continued. "The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside of you and every other person in the world." The grandson thought about it for a moment and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." This is a parable that explains choice. We can choose what to give energy to. That's not to say we should ignore the thoughts we don't want. Without those, we wouldn't know what we wanted instead. So past and future are related to past habits, communication, feedback, and beliefs. So how do we learn to be where we are now? By learning to let go of all of it, even for a moment. So why did I just spend all that time talking about the stuff that brought you here? Just to tell you to let go of it. Because giving form, substance, and validation to who you are is the only way to release what isn't working, what's not allowing you to move forward. You always have a choice. And sometimes the best choice is to accept where you are. Get still and quiet the mind. That is what it means to be in the now, in the present moment. Remember that breathing exercise we did in the beginning? How'd you do with that? Did you notice thoughts? Could you focus on the breath? Learning to focus on the breath is the first step to learning how to be present in the moment. Watch your pets, your baby, a squirrel, a creature outside your window, maybe a deer or a bear, or somebody walking a dog. Well, the dog, not the person. They only know this moment. Watching your pets and your young children really teaches you how to be present. I often think that's why women love to have babies, because when they're little, it's only that moment. And how wonderful is that? Now look at where you are. Think about all you have. The one thing that many people get focused on is what they don't have and what they didn't do. Many people get to the end of their life and focus on what they didn't do, their regrets. Do you tend to look at what you haven't done or what you have done? I'm not talking about validation from others, as we expected when we were younger. I'm talking about self-acceptance and validation. So take a few minutes, maybe stop the video, and list the things you have done that make you feel good. In life coaching, we often suggest that people keep a success journal. can be a daily journal or a way to keep in touch and celebrate all that you have accomplished up until now. And then you can make it a daily, weekly, or monthly practice. The purpose is to notice things. Noticing what you haven't done has a tendency to make you feel stuck. But noticing what you have done raises your confidence and your attitude. It's not about being positive. It's about being honest with yourself. Do you ever find yourself watching an inspirational video and getting energized? There's a lightness that makes everything feel possible when you are happy and inspired. If you go to a lecture or you go to a weekend retreat, you always seem to leave feeling lighter and just like anything in the world is possible. And then you get home and life faces you. Life happens. And you might forget about that moment. The Success Journal can help you hold on to that moment and make it a practice to feel inspired. You can get inspired by looking at your own life and what you've done. If you want a little more support, watch an inspirational video. They can definitely help you remember your own personal wins. Try getting inspired and find memories that remind you how amazing you are. Now is about acceptance of everything in this moment. Making room in your mind and your physical space can help you in being present. Look around the room you're in. Everything you are, do, and have is a result of who you were. You have the ability to make the changes if you're willing and if you're ready. You are here now. Sit in it for a while, in your worn-out slippers and comfy clothes, listening to my voice or maybe the dog barking outside. Feel the chair under you and the warmth of the coolness of the room. Smell the air. Breathe. Be still and just notice. No thinking is necessary when you're in the present. Another word for that could be mindfulness. What do you see as you look around your room, in your space, in your comfy clothes, your home or your office or wherever you might be? What do you see that makes you smile? What makes you roll your eyes? What makes you feel something a little more negative? If you are in a different state, would you feel differently about that? Decluttering is definitely a way to allow yourself to be more present, because everything you're looking at right now is from your past. You've brought it forward from maybe your childhood. I know I still have some things from when I was really little. And I have some college course books that I still have, and I've got other books that I've meaning to read that I bought a year ago, right? Everything around you is in the past. If you clear that space a little bit, you will allow yourself to be more present because there will be less reminders of things to think about. If you go away, if you travel and you would stay at a hotel, very little of your things come with you when you go there. So it's much easier to be present, to think about what you're going to do that day, to think about, it's almost dinner time, what will they have on the menu? You're not thinking about, I have to do this, I have to do that, or this happened yesterday. Chances are you're thinking much less about that because you're not in your own familiar space. So taking yourself out of your space now, maybe go for a walk, go sit in the park, and find out how much more present you can teach yourself to be. It's a very, very interesting exercise. The other thing to remember is that this moment is all there really is until the next one and the next. The other thing to keep in mind is your future happens with every moment that you live in. Technically, there is no future because eventually what you think is the future will be your now. So everything you do at this moment is preparing you for where you're going, what you want, what you would like to have in your life. Everything you're doing in this moment is to prepare you for what's coming. So think about what you want. Think about where you'd like to go or what you'd like to own. What's the feeling that comes with that right now? That's the feeling that you want to hold on to as you're working your way towards whatever it is. Many people will get to the end of whatever it is that they want to do and just go on to the next task. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you could hold on to that feeling up until the moment that you received what it is that you want, that you got that job or that house or whatever it is that you wanted, and you got there and you said, there it is. I'm here. That satisfaction and joy that may come with what you consider to be your future. Bring it into your personal space right now. Oh, and one more thing. Thoughts can change with age. Your thoughts can change with age, so pay attention to whether they are true or beliefs that have changed with time. Stuff like, I'm not old enough, becomes, I'm too old. Other thoughts like, I'm not smart enough, I can't learn, or I don't have enough money, may have been with you for a very long time. As you're thinking any of those thoughts, ask yourself if it's true, or if a thought that you are thinking is just because it's a habit. You've always thought it, so it always comes back. Then accept it. Write it down. Decide if it is worth feeding, or if it's not, let it go. Just remember, that thought happened. It happened now. And the emotions that you are feeling are happening now, even if it's a memory from long ago. This is where you are right now. Learning to be now and learning to be still in one's mind even for a moment. It's the best gift you can give yourself. So let's review what we talked about. We did a present moment exercise, and later on I asked you how you did with it. I absolutely encourage you to keep trying, because if you are meditators, you may notice that when you sit down to meditate, you're not always present. Thoughts will come, and if you're a really good meditator, the thought will come and then it will go. Eckhart Tolle says that we are the sky and our thoughts are clouds. Clouds that just move through. Just let them go. They come in and they leave. It's okay to think. There's nothing wrong with it. It's what you do with those thoughts that really makes the difference. Notice your stress level. Notice where you are in this moment about whatever that thought was that you had. So the process is the thought, the emotion that comes with it, and what you're going to do. We revisited and looked at where your habits and belief come from, many of which come from before you even leave your parents' home, generally when you're very young, and they do change and evolve as you change your environment, whether it's going to school, getting a job, starting relationships. Your habits and beliefs, some of them will stay with you and some will continue to change. Notice the thoughts though. Are they true? Are they habits? Or are they beliefs? Are they helpful? Or maybe not. Try a thought download. Try taking 5 minutes out of your day or whatever you can do, and try writing down every thought you're having. Then go back and read it later and see how you're doing. Definitely try a success journal. Now, let me expand on that for a moment. So a success journal is anything at all that has been a success for you in the day, the week, the month, whatever you would choose to go to. It could be something as simple as you were able to get up today without the alarm going off, or you got to work on time, or you didn't lose a sock in the laundry. A success is a success. It's whatever you need it to be. And it could be large. You could have success like you finished a project at work, or you signed the papers for your new home. You know, big or small, a success is a useful tracking device for helping you stay in the moment and paying attention to what worked. You know, holding your energy high is a really good way to be really present. Negativity often comes from the past. Not always, but sometimes you'll have that moment of remembering something that didn't go well. So write a success journal. Help yourself notice the things that do go well. You get to choose your future. By accepting your present and all you have or are without judgment, you get to choose the next step, what your next moment will be. And you get to choose what to take with you. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. Learning to be present is one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. And learning can still be fun at any age. Thank you.